Hello, ORaaT Nation. Today is Wednesday, June 5th, and this is going to be a very quick midweek update on the market. Market did really well today. I want to take a look at a few things. Looks like the anticipation is for a soft jobs number on Friday, which could open the door for the Fed to start cutting rates. I actually still don't think they will cut rates till the end of the year, but as I've always said, the jobs is the key one to watch to see what that looks like. So anyway, let's jump into it. Share my screen here and do this pretty quickly tonight. So we're going to take a look at a few charts on the website. But first, I want to remind everyone of this that I showed last Sunday. And we are now right here on Wednesday. So this comes from Stock Traders Almanac, and it shows the June performance election years going back to 1950, so 75 years worth of data. And you can see what the first week of June typically does. Big, huge rally first week of June, and then big decline the second week. And we've got the CPI number coming on Wednesday at 8:30 in the morning, and the Fed rate meeting coming on also on Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So those two things may drive the market for the rest of the month, but for right now, it's a nice rally. So let's take a look at that. One thing also I want to point out is that VectorVest, which is something that I use for just timing the market. Now, VectorVest uses their own platform and 9,000 stocks, so it's very, very broad. So they have a lot of stocks. It may not necessarily reflect the S&P or the NASDAQ all the time, but they issued a confirmed down signal, which is the most conservative signal. They issued that on June 3rd. So that was on Friday. And right now we're still in that signal. And probably, I don't think we can get out of that signal for at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, probably 8 days before that can switch back. But the important thing is the buy-sell ratio down here has to go above 1. And the thing that I'm watching also is this moving average. This is the relative timing. So this is the short-term momentum of the market. And I want to see the green line go back above the red line. Right now, this all, even though we had a nice update today, and you can see it was a pretty good update here, but not significant. So we'll see. But it did make a big difference in the markets. So for that, let's go over here to the website, breakpointtrading.net. Free newsletter is in this box right here. I'm not going to spend much time on that. I just want to go straight to the charts page and take a look at the S&P using these index charts right here. So the S&P daily chart. And there's the S&P. And let me log in so we don't get ads and stuff. But you don't need a subscription to get these charts. They will appear just like I'm showing you. It's just that you'll get ads and stuff like that if you're not a subscriber to Stock Charts. So once again, let's go back and take a look at the S&P daily chart. And what you'll notice right here, the red down arrow, that's the VectorVest down signal. But see what happened today. The index went back and made new all-time highs once again. So it closed at 53.54. So very nice close, and closed right into the, continued to go up right into the close. So very strong close. The volume wasn't beyond average, but it was not too bad either. So I think this probably will continue, just like the chart I showed you for this week of June. Probably will continue tomorrow, Thursday, and then we'll see what happens Friday morning with the jobs number. If we take a look at the NASDAQ, it's very similar. It's the NASDAQ daily chart. Same thing, open in the morning, buyers all the way into the close. So right to the close of the day. And some of these momentum indicators are turning up right now as well. So all of that looks really good. Volume actually was a little better on the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ right now actually looks great. So again, I think this will probably continue tomorrow. And then if we get a weak jobs number, it'll probably continue right into Friday, and then we'll see what happens next week. So the other thing I want to show is I added these two 10-minute charts on this page. This is the charts page on the website right here, charts. I added these two 10-minute charts with the aggressive sectors. So what you'll see here is this is the S&P on a 10-minute basis. So each of these bars is a 10-minute bar, represents 10 minutes during the day. So this is Friday, or this is Wednesday. This is today's day. This is 5 days worth. So it goes back into last week. And here's Friday. If you remember, on Friday, the market sold off, and then the last 20 minutes had a huge rally. And we were wondering if that would continue into this week. Well, it sold off on Monday, came back a little bit at the end of the day, sold off again on Tuesday, came back a little bit, and then today just continued to go higher. Now, these bars are different colors, green, blue, and red. And that's going to be important with something I'm going to show you here in a second. This is something that was created by a guy named Elder. And it allows you to see both trend and momentum in one bar. So these represent 10 minutes, but if it's green, that means trend and momentum are both going up. If it's red, that means trend and momentum are both going down. If it's blue, it's basically neutral. It means one of those two is going up and the other one's going down. So you can see we had blue right through here and it's neutral. And then the very end of the day, we had a nice big green bar. So that's why the buying continued right into the close. So that was pretty good. Down here, I put in the aggressive sectors. I actually ranked these based on the weighting in the S&P. So technology is the biggest. I think I said last Sunday that it was 40%. It's actually 30%, but it's the largest weighting in the S&P. So technology, you can see throughout the week, even as the market was going up here, technology wasn't really participating until today. And technology took off pretty well. Financials, on the other hand, did well the first day, kind of went sideways, were below the line, and then sold off today. So financials and discretionary both were weaker. Communication services, which are the internet stocks like Google and Meta and Netflix, it did okay. It was actually selling off the beginning of the day, even as the market was going higher. But it ended fairly well, lower than it started. Industrials just did nothing, just went sideways. So the big mover today was technology, and the rest of these aggressive sectors didn't really participate much. Now we can also do this for the defensive sectors. Look at the 10-minute chart with defensive sectors. And the same kind of thing. Here's the market today, 10-minute bars went up. Healthcare is the biggest weighting of the defensive sectors. Healthcare kind of went sideways, but it stayed above the line. So healthcare was pretty solid. Staples, though, sold off. So Staples is definitely a defensive sector. So that's good if technology is going up and Staples is going down when the market goes up. That indicates that the trend and traders are moving into aggressive technology stocks. Energy didn't do much of anything, actually ended a little bit lower. Utilities ended much lower, and utilities, again, is one of the most defensive sectors, and materials too, which is where gold and silver reside, but it's the smallest of all of the sectors in the S&P. But again, it's been selling off all week and didn't do much of anything today. So looks like technology was the one that really carried it today. Will that continue? Well, we'll find out. Now, one thing I noticed and was interesting is that right here, these are the individual industry groups within the sectors. And every day I update this. So these are the ones that were moving today at the close. Red means they were moving down, green means they were moving up. And look at biotech. Biotech was moving up today. If we look at the biotech industry group, you can see right there, it looks like it's getting ready to break out. In fact, it's very close to breaking out right now. So biotech is actually an interesting space to keep an eye on and maybe even take a look at some stocks there. Now, one of the stocks in the top 10, and that will lead me to what I want to talk about in a second, So every weekend, I update the top 10 VectorVest stocks, top 10 earnings beats, which is Tom Boley, and top 10 Investors Business Daily. And I include these every week. These are all updated. You can see the ones in green are in all three categories. So there's only two this week. NVIDIA, of course. Number 1 and 2, the categories, number 2 in the other one. CLS, which is on 2 of the top 10, it just dropped out of this one, but probably will come right back in again. In fact, if we look at CLS, it had a good day today as well. And you can see a change from a red bar to a blue bar. And probably if it continues up, it'll be green tomorrow. So this one has just been heading higher, had a nice pullback, and now looks like it's starting to take off again. But take a look at this, Oscar Health. So Oscar Health is the number 4 stock in the IBD. And in, let's see, healthcare, it didn't make the top 3 in the healthcare industry group. But if we look at Oscar Health, you can see that it's had a nice pullback as well. It's had a nice trend higher, had a nice pullback, all red and turned blue today. So this is one, again, if it continues higher and gets above the 21-day moving average, it probably will turn green, and that might be a good one in the biotech space. It's actually in healthcare providers is the industry group. So that's one to keep an eye on as well. I'm going to give you a number of stocks just to watch for those that are interested. In particular, I'm going to show you a way to find those, because the important thing right now with the market basically coming down over the last week or so and then having a nice rally today, there probably are a number of really good setups that we could find. So one thing that I do every week as I accumulate these top 10s, I've noticed that they'll drop out of the top 10, and then a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, they'll come back into the top 10, which means that they are good, solid, high-performing stocks because they made the top 10, but they just had a pullback like Oscar Health that I just showed you. They had a pullback, and now they returned to the top 10. So that's what we want to find. We want to find these strong stocks that are having a pullback and just starting to start higher again. So every week I accumulate all of these that were in the top 10 and have dropped out of the top 10 into a single file. And I save that file and post it on the website every week. Right now you can see there are 249 stocks as of Friday. And this is one of the lists that I use to do my scans. So that's what I want to show you now. Let me close all of these. If I go to my dashboard and to my scans, by the way, also on the website, there's this one scan to rule them all, which has all of the scans that I use in one file. So you can actually see all the ones that are used right there. But the one that I'm going to point out are the Elder Impulse bars, which are those blue, green, and red bars that I just talked about. So if I show you what this looks like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find stocks that have volume above 100,000 shares. They're in that top 10 combined list. They're also in the best chart list. Every week I update that as well. They're also in stocks that have weekly options, and I include the Magnificent Seven. So those are the ones that I'm going to search on. And there's a number of different ways you can do it using those red, green, and blue bars. This first one, number 11, is it was red. Today it's red. Yesterday it was not red. So that's something that's falling that you might want to short. The one at the bottom is blue, and yesterday was not blue. But we want to look at the one that's green today. So what this says is the bar is green. Yesterday it was not green. So yesterday it was either red or blue. And the close today closed in the upper 2% of its range. So that means it didn't just go up and come back down again. It went up and stayed up. So that's what we're going to try to find running the scan. So if I run the scan, what we get is 109 stocks. And interestingly, the NASDAQ 100 comes in right at the top. So I'm going to step through each one of these very quickly. And for those that are interested in identifying potential stocks to trade with, you can always back up the video and take a look at them. So what I'm going to do is look at this in a chart book view, which is my standard chart. And we're starting with the NASDAQ 100. And here's what we're looking for. We're looking for a green bar, and we're looking for the close, which is that little tick to the right there. We're looking for a close that's near the top of its range. In this case, the NASDAQ broke out. I showed you that before. And the momentum looks like it's just starting to move higher. So that's what we want to see. Now I'm going to step through each one of these and show you, number one, notice, watch the bars, but number two, notice the names that come up. Remember, this is taken from the top 10 list. So a lot of these names should be pretty solid performers. All right, so let's just jump through this real quick. There's ACMR Research. It's a semiconductor right over here. You can see the sector it's in and the industry group that it's in. So there's a semiconductor, big pullback, and now it's a green bar about ready to recover. There's another one, Affirm Holdings, computer services. There's Agilysys, computer hardware. And just take a look at the chart and look at the recovery. So this is a pullback, and then it's starting to recover. There's Allison Transmission, commercial vehicles. ORaaT, you'll notice this a lot on the semiconductor stocks. This one here also is just getting ready to break out. Here's Advanced Micro, AMD, also getting ready to break out above 170. Here's a pharmaceutical. Here's Amazon, broadline retailers. Again, pullback, perhaps ready to break out. Applied Digital Corporation, computer services. Apollo Management, asset managers. ARM, semiconductors. That one looks really nice. Here's ASML, also semiconductors. That's getting ready to break out. Ascendus, biotech. Aspen, building materials. This one has just stayed up there, didn't even have a pullback. But you can see now it's actually broken above its previous high. So that one might just continue. Here's ATI, a steel company. Here's Broadcom, another semiconductor. Here's Bank of America. So notice the names here. Bluebird, commercial vehicles. Again, this is one that did not have a pullback. It's just continued higher, but now it looks like it's breaking higher still. Here's building materials. That one doesn't look so great. Here's business support services, Brightview, Blackstone, Camtech electronic equipment, again, ready to break out. Here's Chipotle. By the way, Chipotle is going to have a 50-for-1 split on June 26th. So this one, just like NVIDIA, people are going to continue to buy this right up until the split date on June 26th. And then it will be 50-for-1. So if you just even bought one share, you'd end up with 50 shares of Chipotle. It won't be $3,100. It'll be more like $62, but it's a good time to get in. Mr. Cooper, it's a bank. Semiconductors, again, just stayed up there and is now breaking higher. CrowdStrike just reported earnings, had great earnings, is a big sell-off right here, had great earnings and ended at the high of its day. Here's biotech, again. Software company, Elastic. Fair Isaac, software company. Federal Home Loan, mortgage finance. Commercial vehicles, that one I'm not too impressed with. Software, maybe getting ready to take off. Real estate development, Green Brick Partners, don't like that one. Halo, biotech, that one's right near the breakout point. Healthcare, HCA. Here's Warrior, here's a coal company. Again, diversified industrials. Nice run, staying right up there. There's probably earnings back here, staying right up there the whole time, and now getting ready to take off. Here's IBP, Installed Building. Big, nice pullback. Here's another healthcare provider. Here's semiconductors, Intel, of all things. I'm not a big fan of Intel. I mean, it's just been underperforming all of the semiconductors for quite a long time. So that's, if you want to play the sell-off, it might work, but I'm not too impressed with Intel. Electronic equipment right there. KBH, KB Homes. Now again, take a look at what the chart looks like. Sell off and a green bar, and the momentum indicators just bottoming and ready to turn up. Specialty finance, KKR. Semiconductors, KLA, looks great. Biotech, might be a good one. Here's clothing and accessories. That one just continued higher. Clothing and accessories is doing really well. It's like Crocs, Lululemon, A&F, Abercrombie and Fitch, companies like that. Here's Lennar, another home construction company. Healthcare provider, LFMD. This has been in the top 10 many times. I recognize that name, and it's had a big sell-off, and now it's starting to come back again. Lennox, building materials. Here's Lam Research, semiconductors. This is another one that announced a 10-for-1 split, although the split won't be until October, so there's still quite a ways to go, and it's almost at $1,000 now. But this is another semiconductor stock that has announced a 10-for-1 split. Here's Stride Specialty Consumer Services. Here's real estate development, Landsea Homes. This one is food products. Interestingly, that's consumer staples. So that's one that, as I showed you before, actually didn't do that group didn't do well today, but this one actually outperformed the group. So it might be one to take a look at. Here's Marriott. Marriott had a big sell-off, might be ready to recover. MGM Resorts, big sell-off. Here's home construction, MH Homes. Make My Trip. This is another one I've seen in the top 10 a number of times. So went up very nicely, pulled back right down to the 21-day moving average, and now starting to take off. This one here might be a good one. Here's Moderna, pharmaceuticals. Microsoft, software. Again, red bars, and today is a green above all the moving averages and all of the momentum indicators just starting to turn up. MicroStrategy, a Bitcoin stock, software. Micron, another semiconductor. That one is getting ready to hit new highs again. Here's Murphy, USA, specialty retailers. Here's Netflix. I mean, you can recognize all these names. Here's Netflix. NEO, this is automobiles. It's a EV. Conventional energy, NRG energy. Here's a security company, electronic equipment. Here's NetApp, computer hardware. Here's Netera, medical supplies. NVIDIA. This list would not be complete without NVIDIA being on it. Again, NVIDIA just continued higher, had a little break when these bars turned blue, which means neutral, but then today took off and closed within 2% of its high. So NVIDIA is another one that will split on after the close on Friday, 10-for-1, and will open with the new split shares on Monday, June 10th. So if you bought, it's at 12.24, and I mentioned, I think last Sunday, that I thought NVIDIA would make it to 1,200 before the split, and it's at 12.24 right now. So if you bought this right now at 1,200, then on Friday, if you bought one share at 1,200, then on Friday you would have 10 shares at 120. NXPI, another semiconductor company. Notice a lot of semiconductors. Here's On Semiconductor, another one. Here's Oracle, another big software company. All of these with green bars, and all of these just getting ready to recover and take off. There's Pulte, home construction, a lot of those names in here. Telecom equipment. Here's computer storage, Pure Storage. Here's heavy construction, Quanta Services. Qualcomm, another semiconductor company. Commercial vehicles. Roku, I'm not too impressed with this chart. So this one would be risky for Roku, computer hardware. Here's water. That's a utilities company. Again, utilities didn't do well, but this one actually outperformed. Here's Schwab, investment services. Healthcare providers, Select Medical. Shake Shack, restaurants and bars. Here's Skechers, footwear. Salerno, biotech company. Synopsys, software company. Spock Holdings, this is a mobile telecom company. Seagate Technology Computer Hardware. And this is, again, Skyworks Solutions had just went sideways, and then this is probably earnings, and they probably missed. So I'm not too impressed with that one. TD, this is aerospace. Just look at the beauty of these charts, just going straight up, basically. Like another semiconductor, Teradyne. Here's Tenet Healthcare, another healthcare company. Tencent Music. All of these, most of these, not all of them, but most of these look pretty good. Here's marine transportation. Just look how these charts just go up and then have gone sideways in the last week or so when the market wasn't doing much. And now they're all getting ready to break out. Taiwan Semi, another semiconductor, it's already broken out. Here's a Trade Desk, software company. Texas Instruments, another semiconductor. Texas Roadhouse, a restaurant. United Airlines. Uber Technologies, that one's still down here at the bottom. So we'll see if I wouldn't be too impressed with that chart right now, but you never know. Uber could take off. Universal Health Services, Visa, Consumer Finance, Vital Farms. This one's been in the top 10 many times. Just look at the beauty of that chart. Just nice 45-degree angle. And today it broke to new highs once again. So that one is in food products. Here's Western Digital, computer hardware. Wix, which is what I use for my website. It's a software company, Israeli-based software company. Here's Williams Sonoma. I don't like that chart, but who knows, that one could continue higher. XPO Logistics, transportation. Transportation has been terrible lately, so I'd probably stay away from this one. Zscaler. Zscaler hasn't done well either. Missed earnings way back here. But they might be making a comeback, but that's one I'd be a little careful of. That's the last one. So anyway, that's the way that I search for companies. There are a ton of companies in this list tonight. That's why I wanted to show it to everyone, because when I ran this list, I couldn't believe the names and how many of them there were, and how many of the charts looked so great, like this, like Wix, slight pullback and then hitting new highs. Like this, Western Digital, like this, Vital Farms. There's so many charts in here that look like this. So if you're a trader and you're looking for ideas, you can just go back and review this whole list. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Hope everyone's doing well, and I will see you on Sunday. Happy trading.